I have some cool stories to tell, I hope. I hope they're cool. And if I tell some jokes and they're not funny, laugh anyway, please. Thank you. See? Okay. Well, before I play my first clip, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of background. I'll probably go back to the beginning, which was when I was a 5-year-old in Nebraska. Maybe not quite that far back, but I grew up in Nebraska, and I wanted to make films since I was able to walk. And so, you know, when it got to college, I was basically looking for a place to go that offered a really good film studies program. So I decided to go to the University of Kansas. And so I transferred there in 2000, and I was a junior at this point. I went to my first 2 years of college in Nebraska. And I met up with a lot of really talented folks. And a lot of people say, well, why do you have to go to school to learn how to make films? And I always tell people that what it did for me as a filmmaker is basically unite me with a really awesome group of people that I continue to work with. I mean, I graduated in 2002, and I'm still working with the people that I met at KU, and there's some people here in the crowd that were in school at the same time I was. And basically in 2001, I formed a production company called Sino Reality Pictures, which was, we formed it while we were in college, and we started making short films. The first couple short films we made, we were still shooting on film, which I think we were probably one of the last classes at KU to really just do a lot of projects on 16 millimeter. And of course, being poor and a college student, it was not the most cost-effective thing to do, shoot on film. So around that time, mini DV started becoming really popular. So we had told ourselves, or lied to ourselves, that looked almost as good as film. And so we went out and shot a bunch of short films, you know, for class credit, and started entering them into film festivals and kind of getting the word out. And we just kind of developed a library of films, and we kind of started developing a style of the kind of films that we wanted to make. Most of the stories that we tell are kind of creepy. I would say they're not Hallmark oriented. You know, so a lot of people are thinking, well, these guys are kind of doing some old Twilight Zone-y kind of style films. And it was funny because a lot of the films ended with somebody like getting their comeuppance and something really bad happening to them. So people are like, Patrick, you have a really negative outlook on life. And I was like, no, really, I don't. I just think it's kind of funny, like the old Tales from the Crypt episodes where somebody always got their comeuppance at the end. So we started playing them at film festivals, and before we knew it, we started winning some awards and getting some attention nationally. It was like 2 years out of college, we won a national contest that got the films released. They're two films that I'm not wonderfully proud of, but you know, they got us to the next step in our careers. And right out of college, it was one of those things where, you know, especially when you're a film student, you're like, what do I do next? I mean, once you graduate, do you go to Los Angeles? Do you stick to your guns and make films here? So I kind of dabbled with the idea of going to graduate school in California, and because of my reference letters for my community college didn't get sent, I was not accepted. So I decided, well, you know, the amount of money I'd be spending on grad school, I could probably put towards a film. So we decided to make a feature film, and this is about 2004. And I basically worked out a way of basically working part-time and sleeping on a couch. And this would last for maybe 3 years. And I became a big fan of ramen noodles, and probably didn't have the healthiest diet in the world. I also didn't have much of a personal life because I was sleeping on a couch. But we would shoot the movie when we could. We basically just did it out of our own pocket. I didn't max out that many credit cards, surprisingly. But I worked part-time at a television studio in Lawrence, where I also got to know a lot of great people to work with. And it wasn't until about 2005 that we completed the film, and it was able to get a distributor. And it was at that point that I realized I had a lot to learn. By the final product, I was proud of what we accomplished, but I realized I had to kind of go back to square one. So we decided to start working again in the short film format. And I was able to acquire some funding from a company in Lawrence based off of some of our previous work. And for the next 3 years, we were able to make a couple short films a year and enter them into film festivals. And again, we were kind of leaning towards the whole Twilight Zone style. it was about 2007 that we decided that we wanted to make another feature film called Nailbiter, which I came up with the idea while I was coming back from a film festival. I said, that'd be a cool title for a movie. Now let me think of an idea for the story. The idea kind of came to me from, when I was 16, I was caught in a tornado with a couple buddies, and we ended up taking refuge in this elderly couple's house. We knocked on their window, and this little old couple came to the door, and they opened the door, and they were scared that we were like going to rob them or something. And we're like, there's a tornado. So we spent the next 45 minutes in their basement, and I often wondered what would have happened if that had gone south. And so I based my idea for Nailbiter off that actual event. And then we wanted to kind of make it a monster movie. So at this point, it was 2007, and we were working on the script. And we had a lot of false starts. I mean, we were trying to raise the money here in Kansas City, and we had a couple moments where we thought we had it, and we didn't. And we spent most of 2007 basically searching for the money and becoming increasingly frustrated. And so when the end of 2007 hit, I was like, all right, I need a breather. So we decided to make a few more short films. I thought I got to thinking about it now, because we didn't start shooting that movie till 2009, that we weren't ready to shoot that movie in 2007. So it was really good that we were able to take a couple years and make some more short films and basically learn how to become better storytellers. The crew that I work with on the short films is the same crew that I worked with on Nailbiter. And it was one of those things where working on those short films, we developed a silent communication. Basically, we were able to read each other's minds. Of course, that took like 6 short films to get to that point. But it became a really good crew to work with. And we were able to, with the short films, test out new technology, test out new cameras, new editing systems, and basically just really hone our skills. And so by the time we got to the feature film, which wasn't until 2009, we were ready to go. And so we started shooting in the summer of 2009. And before we play the clip, I'll just give a little bit more information about the shooting in 2009. We basically shot 2/3 of the movie in 2009, and then we ran out of money. And we didn't have really any money to begin with, so we were in trouble. So we basically had to stop shooting for an entire year. So we had to explain to everybody, all right, fun's over. Everybody, we're going to have to stop for, what I thought was going to be 6 months, and it turned out to be a year. And so we came back in 2010 and shot more. Luckily, I had to basically have my editor cut what we had already shot in 2009, which is a great thing about digital, is that we were able to basically get everything cut together, look at what we had, know what we were missing, and maybe just budgetarily speaking, adjust what we still had to shoot, because there was a lot of stuff that we had to do that was going to cost a lot of money. We had a scene that was going to take place on Main Street in Wellsville, Kansas, and to light the street, it was going to cost upwards of $30,000. So the financier was like, oh, that's not really, can we do something different? So we ended up shooting those particular scenes in Leawood, in a neighborhood that was kind of enclosed off by trees, and we were able to not have to spend so much money on lighting. So we shot those scenes in 2010, and basically, with the Leawood thing, I realized about 2 weeks out that I needed a permit, this thing called a permit, and it was crazy. I had no time. They were basically, the hoops were going to be pretty large to jump through. So I went to every house in that neighborhood and talked to each person who owned a house there and said, hey, we're shooting this movie in your neighborhood for 3 days from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Are you okay with this? And they're like, sure, why not? So basically, when the nights that we shot, they would come out with their lawn chairs and just hang out and watch. And we didn't have any problems with the police, so it was great. So about 2010, fall 2010, we finished shooting, and the movie was very weather dependent, which at the time when we were writing the script, we're like, this is going to be easy because the majority of it's in a storm cellar. But then we're like, oh wait, there's a tornado in the movie, so how are we going to do that? And of course, all the days where it was supposed to be storming, it was sunny, and we needed at least an overcast day so we could color grade the movie to make it look like it was stormy. So we had a lot of, at one point we were attaching ropes to trees and swinging them to make the trees look like they were blowing in the wind. We bought all these fans from any place that we could get fans, and just was trying to, it wasn't working too well, but we were able to manage. And luckily, Bruce Brandt was able to do a lot of effects for us to make the tornado believable. And but it was from 2007 to now. It's been a 5-year experience on this particular film, and now we're in the distribution phase, which is a completely different conversation. I could be up here for another hour and a half talking about the distribution side, but we have been able to acquire national distribution and foreign distribution for the film, so it will be out in the fall on DVD, video on demand, and hopefully the red box. So, but now we're kind of in that phase where we're dealing with all the legalities and all that stuff. So my advice to anyone who makes a film in the area, please get your legal stuff figured out before you shoot, or, don't wait till the distribution phase. But it's been a great experience being here, and, we've done a lot of short films, which are a lot different in scope than doing a feature film. I would say a feature film is a lot like a marathon, and a short film is a sprint, because with a short film, basically, you're taking 3 days out of people's time to shoot a short, and with a feature, you're taking maybe 30 or 40 or 50, depending on how things go. So with a short film, it's just a different animal altogether. But I really encourage anyone who has an inkling of making a feature film in the Kansas City area, or anywhere for that matter, to do some short films and really cut your teeth and get some experience with that. And but overall, it's been a great experience shooting here in Kansas City. There's a lot of advantages. There's a lot of challenges. I would say that everyone's enthusiastic about making movies here, which is awesome, which is great. When somebody's mowing their lawn, you can calmly go over there and say, sir, we need to record some audio. Would you mind stopping your mowing for about 10 minutes? And he's like, oh, sure. But the second you give him $50, and that's everybody starts mowing. But no, not in Kansas City. Everybody's cool, and so the locations have been a great thing. I mean, we just shot a short film in the West Bottoms, and it was another situation where the whole time I'm like, we're shooting from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., and I'm nervous, but then it was great. Everybody just treated us well, and a couple people would come outside and say, hey, what are you guys doing? We're making a movie, and they just want to just come and watch. So, but I guess we'll show the trailer now for Nailbiter. And
y'all be damn careful out there.
yeah, I mean, we'll have a new trailer out here pretty soon. I think the distribution company is actually going to recut a new trailer for us, so that'll be exciting. And I just hope to keep making films here. We've got another feature film that we want to shoot out here that's actually kind of a horror comedy about energy drinks. So for all of you guys that are drinking energy drinks out there, which I used to just to get myself through some of these film shoots, and I've since stopped doing that. So anyway, hopefully we'll get to make some more films here and keep building the film industry in Kansas City. So thank you.